Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Very
Great,
good. How are
thank
you?
you.
Such a pleasure to talk to you both. Now, I know technically this doesn't fall under the specific genre of horror, but I can't let this opportunity go by for both of you. What is your favorite scary movie of all time?
Oh, I would go all the way back to, I have to say, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. To me, that was terribly frightening, and I saw it as a small child. And then I would say Nosferatu with Max Schreck starring it as Orlok.
I'm gonna go the two that I remember being affected by the most are The Exorcist
Oh, yeah.
and The Omen. Those two.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. In more modern times, The Exorcist and also a movie called Ringu out of Japan. Those really scared the pants off of me.
They're all like Ringo specifically was the most recent one. I was like, oh no, I think I'll just give myself some distance from the TV.
Really got me. Could happen right now. Could come through that screen.
My heart would literally stop. But that's how you know it's a good movie.
Inspired thinking on that movie.
One of the interesting kind of parallels I noticed in this was alongside with Fight Club, believe it or not, because it kicks off with a group therapy session and is arguably much funnier in a dark way than audiences might be expecting it to be, especially considering it actually is dealing with a potentially heavy kind of topic. Were there any other, be it cinematic or any other kind of references for the story when you were talking about this, or for your individual characters when you were kind of coming up with what you're putting up on screen?
Yeah, you're the first person to say Fight Club. I love that movie. So if any relation is very kind of you to say. The movie that you were referencing earlier was American Werewolf in London, and those sorts of horror comedies like Shaun of the Dead that Chris McKay loves, our director, and that was the sort of tonal bullseye we were aiming for with this, I suppose, because it is a heavy topic at its core, these codependent toxic relationships, and how to approach that truthfully and honestly and do that justice, but also have a fun movie that people can enjoy and lose themselves in at the same time.
Yeah, it's inherently not funny, toxic relationships and codependency, but it's a tricky balance how to play that authentically and then somehow around it find the humor in it. I think, yes, American Werewolf in London, then also The Graduate, believe it or not, the relationship oddly between Anne Bancroft's Mrs. Robinson and Dustin Hoffman's character, I thought, had a flavor of a toxic relationship and perversion that I think was applicable here as well.
And just in terms of physicality, I was really impressed by, obviously, the special effects work, the actual makeup effects, and every time we cut back to you, it was a different layer of disgusting, I guess is the best way I can do it, in a really complimentary way.
Sure.
And then there's obviously all of the magnificent death scenes, and there's huge action sequences that reminded me a little bit of John Wick in terms of their intensity. Was there a particular day or sequence when it came to this physicality, be it the special effects or be it the stunt work, that was like, right, this is the toughest one we've had to do so far? Because it just, to me, from the outside in, it's looked kind of daunting in terms of everything that, all the plates that need to be kept spinning.
Well, not for me. Just my first sequence was the support group sequence, and wasn't so much that it was daunting, more exciting that we could incorporate all the moves that Brewster, the stunt coordinator, and McKay and I were working on together in terms of how Dracula was on attack in fight sequences. So we were trying to channel these top predators like big cats and cobras to have those kinds of moves. So what about you?
The physically the most demanding one was actually didn't end up in the movie. It was we did a whole dance sequence, a fantasy dance sequence number after Renfield first meets Rebecca, Awkwafina's character, and from that there's the sequence where Renfield does a huge dance with breakdancing cockroaches and flying worms and all these things, which was a long night shoot and very difficult physically, and it took a lot of time to learn the choreography, but didn't end up in the movie. So
I saw the sequence and it's magnificent. He's a hell of a dancer and he did worked his ass off. It was an incredible sequence. Had I been producing the movie, that sequence would be in the movie. It was just a marvel to look at.
Well, I look forward to the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray. So
yeah,
I hope so. Yeah.
Perfect, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Hi, are you here for the meeting? Well, come on.
No! Some call me
Others, the Lord of Death. To most, I am Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.